Bonjour, my bells and bets. It has been a while since we've had just like a sit-down chatty video, so I thought that we would do a little bit of a knit with me today while we discuss some of the things that I want to accomplish in 2024. I have my knitting goals, I have some like sewing and crafting projects that I want to accomplish, as well as a few reading and writing goals. So grab your beverage of choice, grab a project, cozy up, and let's just sit down and talk about some crafting. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the knitting goals. According to Ravelry, I think I knit 18 things in 2023. That's not counting several small projects. Like I don't normally count things like washcloths or bath scrubbies. And I know that there are a few projects that I made last year that I just totally forgot to put into Ravelry. So I do want to accomplish more than that this year. I've already got a couple of small projects off the needles, but those are like the small stuff that doesn't really count towards my totals. It's things like I made a bookmark, that kind of thing. And the reason I have those small projects is because I play a game on Ravelry, and caveat, the author does not exist. We are not associated with the author, but it's a Harry Potter themed knitting game, and you get points for projects that you complete and turn in, and there's different prompts every month. It has absolutely no association with the industry. It is just a group of fans that got together and combined two nerdy interests to have fun. So I've turned in a couple of small things for classes for prompts, and they're not like things that I really wanted to make this year. One of them was a little hat for a plushie that Ash asked me to make, and then the other one was just to complete the prompt and get points for my team, or for my house. So I do want to finish more projects than that, but also I was looking at my list, and most of these are larger or long-term projects. I currently have a couple of long-term projects on my plate, and I need to get at least one of them completed before I can add anything else. So to that end, I would like to complete the quote-unquote historically accurate version of Eleonora de Toledo's burial stocking. I only have enough yarn to do one. I thought I bought enough for two, then the yarn got discontinued, and the gauge was not what I thought it would be when I bought the yarn. So long story short, I can only make one of them. I'm down to just the foot. I'm at the point where I'm like turning the heel, and it's very intimidating. I have been procrastinating on this, and I'm going to do a whole video on it once I finally sit down and do it, but it kind of got put on the back burner because one, it's terrifying, and two, I had holiday stuff to do. So I'm going to go back to that, and I want to finish the historically accurate version, and then I also want to modernize the pattern and make it with like modern sock yarn, modern needles to my size, so significantly larger than the original, but in materials that will make it go faster. So I want to do a pair of reproduction stockings based off of that. I also have some other pieces that I want to make that accompany that. Like there's a partlet and a snood, which I'm going to crochet. They have pearls on them. And some other pieces from that project. I'm not going to finish the entire project this year because the next phase of it involves dresses, and one of them I might have to hand embroider. So I know that actually two of them, I know I'm going to have to hand embroider at least one of them, probably both. And I know that's not going to get done today, or not today, definitely not today, but that's not going to get done this year. I'm hoping for some time this decade on that. And then my other long-term project that I'm working on is recreating and adapting 3 sweaters from the Wednesday Addams TV series. I finished the first one at the end of December. I'm almost 3/4 of the way done with the second one. And then I need to take a break before I do the third one to get some other projects off of my list. And I also have to do some thrifting for that one because it's actually a crocheted top with a white blouse underneath, and I need to go thrift the blouse to alter. So I've got the 2 Wednesday Addams sweaters that I want to make, well, 1.5 sort of, and then I have the Eleonora stocking, the Eleonora socks, the partlet and the snood that I want to get done. And then I also have a couple of big projects that I want to do. So I have designed a sweater for one of my in-laws that I would like to do. The yarn arrived yesterday. But I'm basing the pattern off of a pattern that I freehanded a couple of years ago that is based off of one of my dad's favorite sweatshirts. So it's still freehand, but it's something that I've made before, and I have the dimensions and everything for it. And that one I know is going to take a while because it is partially color work, it's self-drafted pattern, and it's like a size 2X. So I need to work on that one. That's a Christmas gift. Another Christmas gift that I want to give this year for 2024 is I found a pattern for a shawl, and I'm not going to go into detail on this one because I don't know if my in-laws watch this. I don't think they do. If you're an in-law of mine, please go find something else to watch. Okay, just move on. Okay, we good? Okay. But my mother-in-law is a stained glass worker, and I found a shawl that looks like stained glass, so I'm making a version of that pattern. I'm going to talk about all of these projects in more detail on podcast episodes, and some of them will get their own videos, so I'm just kind of giving you the high notes here of things that I want to work on. So in addition to that shawl, which is going to use mostly scrap sock yarn, I'm also working on remaking a sweater that I made for myself a couple of years ago. And there's nothing wrong with the original sweater, or wrong precisely. It's just that I learned a lot making it, and I now know that I can do it better. So I'll pop a picture up in here. This is my rainbow sweater, and I really love it, but it has a couple of little fit issues with it that I know I can fix now, and I'm using that sweater as a reference. But I have cast on to make a new one. And one of the advantages of this is I'm using a long color repeat yarn that didn't exist at the time that I made the first one. So this is making it much easier and much neater. And again, I'm going to be talking about all of these more on the podcast. So those are all of the knitting projects that I want to get done this year. And that is a pretty ambitious list because most of them are larger projects that I know are going to take me at least a few weeks per project. I can't even start on the shawl right now because I don't have enough scraps in the right colorways. I need some lighter colors before I can make that work. And turns out I haven't knit with very many light colors recently. I also have a list of sewn items that I want to make. So I'm still working on my SCA garb, and I have an idea for a fancier gown that I want to make that is sort of loosely inspired by Catherine de Medici. And I'm going to stick in the early 1500s, and I want to use it's gold fabric with black fleur-de-lis embroidered on it. If you've been to Joann's in the last 5 to 10 years, you've probably seen a remnant or something of this fabric because it was everywhere for a while. And I want to combine that with a black fabric, potentially velvet, I'm not positive, and make a 15th century gown using those two materials. And along with that, I need to finish up my black chemise, which will go underneath. I'm making a black chemise because the Catherine de Medici dress it won't look right if I use a white chemise underneath it. So I'm making it in black. And happily that also coordinates with the blue dress with the black trim that I made last spring for our cheese rolling. So I need to finish up that. It's just been languishing. I have not done any sewing in ages. I also have fabric that I bought for a modern dress using the same pattern as the blue and black cheese rolling dress that I want to make. I intended to make it last summer. I never got around to it. I also have an idea for making a patchwork quilt, and I'm not sure how I want to approach it, if I should make it or not. We have so many blankets in our house, but I love making blankets, and we also buy a lot of blankets because who can resist a cute fleece blanket with spooky cats on it or something like that? We're really bad about buying fur blankets. But I really want to do a patchwork quilt with the embroidery on it. If you head over to, I think it's Shannon Makes, she's been doing some patchwork stuff recently and I really love it, and that's kind of what got me on this patchwork kick. But I don't typically save my cabbage. I wasn't saving it because I wasn't using it for anything. We live in small apartments usually, so it was just taking up space and it never got used, so it was just going to waste anyway, so I was throwing it away. But now I have a purpose for it, so I can start saving my offcuts. The other thing that I'm thinking about making this year is I want to try making a pair of jeans. That has been on my list every year for almost a decade, just because it is so hard for me to find comfortable, well-fitting jeans that aren't an arm and a leg at the store. I have a smaller waist and larger hips, but I'm also kind of squishy, and when I sit down, my shape is not the same as when I'm standing up. So when I'm standing up, they might be very comfortable, but when I sit down, they're not. So I'm trying to find the guts to make a pair of jeans, and I've kind of started on the process of that. I have a pair of work pants for myself that I cut out and pieced last year, and then I kind of abandoned them, and now I'm not positive they fit because thanks to my chronic illnesses, my shape changes and fluctuates a lot. So I might need to just completely scrap those and start over again. I'm not sure if I can salvage them because I don't think I have any more material left. I'm not sure. So my other goals that I have for this year that are not crafting related, I've been struggling with a reading slump ever since we moved to Washington. It's really hard for me to sit down and read anything, and I've had spurts where I can't even listen to audiobooks. I have a little bit of audio processing issues because of my autism and ADHD, and when I listen to audiobooks, I don't always keep up with what they're saying, or I don't always understand it, even if I can hear it, if that makes sense. So I want to read 12 books this year. I have no idea how many books I've read the last few years. It's not a lot. I would like to read a book a month in 2024. I also have a book that I have slated to come out, I believe April 22nd. I think that sounds right. And this is Midnight Radio. If you were on the Patreon, you might have already read it. I was posting it as a serial over there. It has since gone through an edit or revision. Some of the little points have changed. It's got 2 more edits that I want to do before I upload to Amazon, but it is available for pre-order. I will be talking more about that in a podcast. Don't worry, you'll get all the details. And if you go over to my blog, you'll be able to see previews starting next month. I'm also working on a cozy mystery series. It is currently with my beta readers, and I don't know what direction that book is going to go in this year. I keep waffling on it and thinking that I'll just self-publish it and save myself the hassle, but I'm also someone who knows that they need the support of editors and marketers and that kind of thing. Marketing is not my strong suit. So I'm also thinking about querying it because as a cozy mystery, it's significantly more marketable than any of my other books, according to Big Five publishers, or I think we're at Big Four now, I'm not sure. And I think that it would do better with, well, I know that all of my books would do better with a publisher than they have with just me promoting them. But also querying is a lot of work and it can be a lot of heartache. So I'm not sure that I'm ready to go back into that, but I might try. I don't have to worry about that until probably March. But that is something that I want to do this year, and I won't know until the end of the year if it's going to be self-published or if I'm getting an agent and a publisher for it. And then the last thing that I want to work on this year is more of a refocus. And I think I talked about this a bit in one of the Unemployment Diaries vlogs, which is that because of my chronic illnesses, which unfortunately are the reason I do pretty much everything, I am no longer capable of writing books and producing content at the scale that I used to. And that really hurts. It sucks. My chronic illness has taken a lot from me. I used to cycle for 6 to 8 hours a day just for fun. I wasn't competitive or anything. I just did it because I enjoyed it. It took that away from me. It took my walks away from me, my jogging. It's prevented me from getting back into skating. And for a while, it even took away my ability and my joy from writing. I was very, very close to quitting writing, full stop, last year. And for about a month, I didn't even miss it. So I did finally get back into things a little bit. I was able to find some more joy by working on my Cozy Mystery series in November and just kind of switching focus to a lighter series that wasn't dealing with heavy topics or darkness. A lot of my books deal with grief and depression and the things that we all struggle with when we're having a hard time. And it was nice to write something that was just fun and had a goofy, silly dog and a cat that looks like a patchwork doll and like weird mysteries and ghosts and is there a witch in the bakery next door? So that refocus was what I really needed. And for 2024, I'm focusing on promotion and marketing more than I am on production because I have 10 books out and I need to learn how to leverage those rather than depending on new material all the time. I really bought into the phrases that they taught us when I was in my early 20s, that if you build it, they will come. Your best marketing for your current book is your next book. And that doesn't work, at least not for me. And I need to find a better way of saying like, hey, I have this huge backlist that you've never read before. Maybe check that out. So I'm trying to find better ways of promoting myself and marketing myself and my work. I don't know what that looks like yet. I'm still brainstorming. I'm still trying to educate myself. And it's not a part of writing that I really enjoy, but it's a part that takes less time and less energy than creation. And if I am making more income from my backlist, then it's going to give me more time to work at the pace that I want on producing new material. So that's kind of a heavy note to end on. But those are the goals that I'm working for on 2024. I'm hoping that I'll be successful on at least half of them. But yeah, those are my goals. I want to do a lot of knitting. I do want to do some writing. It's not that I'm not going to be writing in 2024, but after Midnight Radio comes out, that's probably going to be my only publication for 2024, other than maybe a few articles here or there. I have also started publishing on Medium and Indeed, but I haven't been getting a lot of traction because I haven't really found my niche there, because it turns out that writing about history is not super popular, and neither is knitting. And unfortunately, most of the venues that I was writing for in 2023 closed at the end of 2023. So that's fun. But again, 2024 is just about pivoting and trying to find new ways of making old stuff work for me in a new situation. So leave a comment below with what some of your goals are. What are some projects that you're looking forward to creating in this coming year? And what are you looking forward to the most? And I will see you probably next week with a podcast. If you're new around here, I'm Sheena Apparel, and I post most Wednesdays, or I try to post most Wednesdays. It doesn't always work out. Usually there's a monthly podcast and then other videos like this one in between. I talk about writing and books and knitting and sewing and all kinds of good stuff. So maybe check out one of these playlists up here. And until next time, I hope that you stay safe and healthy and that you have something cute, fluffy to cuddle with. Ciao!